This is Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. Most any contemporary musical style can trace its roots back to the blues. Time Signatures explores the blues and its musical connections with captivating interviews, lively discussions, and news from the world of the blues.
You know I'm crying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Ervin.
Baby, I'm home.
Well, thank you so much, Parker, and welcome to Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Ervin, and today's special guest is another true blues legend. He's a 3-time Grammy winner, a Blues Hall of Famer, a member of the Mississippi Musicians Hall of Fame, a 6-time Grammy nominee, and an 18-time Blues Music Award winner. Now, according to our guest, he was 83 years of age before he won his first Grammy, and I could probably spend the entire episode just listing his accomplishments, but I want to get into our discussion with 90-year young Mr. Bobby Rush. Bobby, thank you so much for taking time today and joining us on Time Signatures.
Well, thank you very much. All the fans and you as a host of Time Signature, thank you for having me on. I'm glad to be here.
Well, we are eternally grateful for having you. And Bobby, for those of you that are not aware of your Southern roots, I would love to have you talk about where you came from, sir.
Well, from a little place called Homer, Haynesville, Louisiana. We're not saying Homer, Haynesville, because Homer and Haynesville is 11 miles apart. So I was born right in between them. It's called Carquit. It wasn't Homer or Haynesville. It was in the country, and 6 miles from one and 4 miles from the other one. You know, and so I left there in 1947. Went to Pine Bluff, Arkansas, with my dad, who was a preacher and a pastor of the church.
Mm-hmm.
In 1951, I migrated by the way of Memphis, St. Louis to Chicago. And I lived in Chicago 48 years. Now I migrated from there to Jackson, Mississippi. That's kind of the total of my whole life. I've been recording this year for 72 years.
Wow.
I have 429 records. Been up for a Grammy 7 times and won 3. I've been up for a Blues Award 41 times and won 19.
Man, you've had quite a full life for sure. But I want to go back just a little bit. As a young man, you grew up on the family farm. You picked cotton.
Yeah.
You tended the mules and the chickens. But your home didn't have electricity or indoor plumbing, did it?
No. You know, when I think about how much things have changed,
mm-hmm.
much has remained the same. Because when I came up, I often talk about how I modify the music that I do, the kind of music that I sing with the blues.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't changed my stories, but I did change the approach musically and try to make it relate to younger people that coming into the business now who listen to music. When I was a boy, I didn't have electrolytes. We didn't have an inside toilet. We had outside toilets, and they smelled bad, they looked bad.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have 9 bathrooms in my house. They look good, they smell good.
Right.
But you do the same thing. But what you do in them is the same,
mm-hmm.
you know? So that's some modification on the outside, but the inside the same thing.
Yes, sir.
So just like anything else, you know, you modify the thing you do. We learn to keep up with the time. Because let's face the fact, 50 years ago, 40 years ago, we couldn't do this interview this clear like we're doing it now.
Yes.
We sound like we're next door to each other.
Yes, sir.
Now it's modification, all the amplification, all the new technology, the airways, and you can cut a record now in California today and send it to Chicago in a few minutes and over there in Chicago. Same thing with, it's modification, man. Thing bring about a change. But
yes,
the main thing, haven't changed, is our story, our life, our story. And the blues is the root of all music. If you don't like the blues, you probably don't like your mama.
You know what? I gotta agree with that. But I would like you to I'd like you to talk about your baptism into the blues. Where did it all begin for you?
When I was about 7, 8 years old, my dad was a preacher,
mm-hmm.
and my first cousin gave me a guitar, and I hid it. I thought I hid it. You know, you can't hide nothing from your mother and dad. They knew everything. And I called myself hiding this in a loft, in a bun. was in the country, and the sun got to it and whopped the neck of it, and I would go get it every 4 or 5 days and put it in the water where the mules and the horses drink water, and the neck would spring back out. I said, wow. And so one day my daddy told me, being a preacher in a pastor church, and I'm named after my father. He said, Junior. I said, yes, sir. He said, come here, boy. He said, bring me the guitar here. I didn't know he knew I had a guitar. I brought the guitar and he tuned it up. He said, let me sing a song I used to sing to a little girl when I was a little older than you, about your age. Well, I thought it was going to be glory, glory, hallelujah, when I laid my burden down. I even about my mama. But it wasn't about my mama. It wasn't glory, glory, hallelujah. He said, me and my gal went to Chinky Pin hunting. She fell down and I saw something. I said, wow. Dad, being a preacher and singing that kind of song, I knew right then I wanted to be a blues singer and nothing else but a blues singer. And I could sing about the lady falling down, dress flying up and whatever, and he saw something. Man, I wanted to sing that kind of song. Yeah. So from that time to now, I always wanted to be a blues singer. And I knew right then from the beginning, this is what I wanted to do and all I wanted to do.
Now, I've got to hear about your first homemade guitar. Your generation, I guess they call it the diddy bow or the diddly bow?
Well, I didn't know about the diddly bow then, man. All I knew was a one-string guitar.
Right.
And I built it upside of a wall, man, with a broom wire. And what happened to me, I built the guitar, and with one string, I had a brick at the top and a ball at the bottom. So one day the brick fell out, hit me in the head. It went everywhere. So I got real smart. Then I put the brick at the bottom and the ball at the top. So then I got this Elmo James sound. And man, that changed my life and my sound. Yeah. You know, I started to sound like Elmo James with a one-string guitar, you know.
Yes, sir. You know,
and that was my first guitar, man. It wasn't a diddly bow. It was just a one-string guitar.
Wow. Yeah, and I know you already talked about your name being a junior, but you chose to change your name to Bobby Rush out of respect for your father, who was a pastor. And I'd like you to explain that, the reasoning behind that, if you would.
The reason behind it, because I had so much respect for my father. I had so much love for what he stood for. Yes, sir. Spiritually. And what he stood for me as a father and me as his son. And my dad gave me more courage than anything and anybody else on this earth, because he never told me to sing the blues, but he never told me not to. Because he had told me not to. With the respect I had for my daddy, I wouldn't have sung the blues. I wouldn't have been a blues singer today. And he never told me not to. He never told me to sing it, but he never told me not to. Yeah. And that was a green light to me.
Yes, sir. Now, after your move to Pine Bluff, Arkansas, you met up with some real talented musicians that really would alter the path that you would take from that moment forward, didn't you? Talk about the Bobby Rush and the Four Jivers, man.
Elmo James was in this group, man. Then I met Muddy Water the same year. Then I also met the Howlin' Wolf, B.B. King, John Lee Hooker, Smokey Hall. Oh, God, Jimmy Reed. Little Walter and all these guys that I met coming from Chicago. They were in Chicago already, coming back to the southern state, Mississippi, Arkansas, to work these shows. And I was sneaking in the back door, man. Shouldn't have been in there, but I was sneaking to see them. They kind of convinced me to come to Chicago, where I thought the blues and the black man could be free to go where he want to, eat where he want to, sleep in any hotel he want to, and be free, man. That was my heaven, I thought, you know. Sure. Until I got Chicago in 1951, I went to the suburb of Chicago, Blue Island. J.B. Lenoir and Muddy Water taking me there to get this job, making $7 a night, me and the band, making $7 a night, three pieces. And I was playing behind a curtain every night where they wanted to hear my music, but they want to see my face. And I thought then, I said, well, wow, I was better off in the southern state than I was here, because the Jim Crow days was in. You just couldn't go and do anything that you wanted to do or where you wanted to. You could go and do and eat it. It was terrible. But I say that to you let you know that so many things have changed, but so many things remain the same.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know, from that early start in Chicago, you landed on a circuit performing with the likes of Etta James, Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, and Jimmy Reed. Not
Jimmy Reed, baby.
Not bad company for keeping, right?
I didn't know, man. I didn't know about the company I was keeping. Didn't know about I was making history. I didn't know about anything, but I just want to be like these guys. Were a little older now, you know.
Yeah.
I remember when Muddy Waters was 28 years old. He had a birthday. He was coming to be 29 years old. His birthday. He invited me to his birthday party, and I forgot his birthday party. I went to his birthday party on Lake in Oakley in Chicago, at a place called Civio's. I went to Civio's to see him, and I got there at 10:30, and the party was over.
Oh, no.
He said, "Come on around to the back, Blood." I went around to the back. He said, "Come on upstairs. Got all the ladies waiting on you." And he had a whole lot of ladies, 18 or 20 ladies waiting on him. They was dresses was up to wherever. You could see everything but Chicago River. And they were old ladies. One lady said, "I'm 28. One said, "I'm 31. One lady, she was 35 years old. I sneaked out the back door and left Muddy Walk off. The lady was too old. How about that, 35 years old?
Oh,
what kind of, oh, man. That's show you how young I was. I was like 15, 17 years old the most. And I put my age up. 15 years old, had my mustache painted, saying I'm 18, because you get in the club at that time at 18 years old.
Sure.
When I was putting my age up so I could get into the club, wasn't 15 years old. And God, I don't know what Muddy Waters and why Muddy Waters taking the like of me. And I was nothing but a kid, you know.
Man. Well, you are listening.
But that's why I grew up around.
You are listening and watching Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Ervin. And along with me today is famed Chicago blues man. Well, he's from the South, but he came up to Chicago and he went back to the South. Mr. Bobby Rush is with us today. Bobby, I want to turn the page a little bit. I try to ask each of my guests when they come on for an interview about the effects of COVID and the pandemic. How did that affect? Because you were really on a roll after you got that first Grammy. What did you do during this decidedly dark period?
It was a dark period, and I stayed in the dark after the show was a period, but because I didn't for 2 or 3 years. I hardly worked other than doing Zoom, and I just got in the shell and started writing, and that's where the second album came up when I did the Raw than Raw, and I just writing in my bedroom, in my kitchen, and in the dining room, wherever I could sit and with my guitar to write, and things would come because I had time to think about songs, and it just came to light, and so I won a Grammy behind that because I couldn't work in the place. Things was done from both angles. But every time that I went through my battles, through my life, something or somebody come along and pick me up. And that's what happened. Although I was one of the first men who had the COVID in the Mississippi. They didn't know what to do or how to do. Not like to do, didn't have nothing they could give you other than wait. And but I made it through it, and God blessed me to be here. To tell them today how dangerous it was, how gloomy it was, how dark it was. But I'm just thanking God that I'm here to tell the story that I'm still here.
Yes, sir.
And I'm still working and doing what I do and what I love to do.
You know, in 1971, you recorded your biggest hit ever called Chicken Heads. And in 2021, you re-released a 4-track EP on vinyl with 3 different variations of the title. The cool part is that one included your good friend Buddy Guy, and then Government Mule, and finally Chris Stone Kingfish Ingram. Now,
and the youngest one of all.
Yes, sir. And it was released for Record Store Day on Black Friday, November 26, 2021. I just found and purchased a copy yesterday. That must have been some great fun putting that together. And how cool is it that you not only included your own very generation, but also one of the up-and-comers in the person of Kingfish? What prompted that release?
Because I want to pass the torch down to younger people. I know he was always into me as an artist, and I just hope that he was into the song itself. But he being from Mississippi, he know a lot about me coming up as nothing but a kid. He still is a kid, but
sure,
he know a lot about me, a lot about what I did and what I stood for. what I stand for. And then he loved the blues, and I'm passing the torch to him, and he take it to his age group, which is a blessing to someone to take it on, because these young people are the one who, in a minute, they're gonna be the one who have the blues in their hands and doing it.
Yes, sir.
And he one of the few guys who realized the blues is the root and the mother of all music. And if you don't like the blues, you probably don't like your mama.
Yeah, definitely. So after living in Chicago for nearly 50 years, you headed back down south to Jackson, Mississippi. What prompted you to relocate down south again?
Well, two or three things. I was in the Chicago area, north area, but I was doing most of my work in the southern states and southern towns and countries and what have you. And I figured if I got close to my work, it'd have been easy on me going back and forth buying gas to go back Monday and Tuesday and then leaving again on Thursday coming south.
Sure.
If I'm in the south, I could work and don't have to go that far back to my home base for what I call home. And the second thing, that my roots are from Mississippi, and I wanted to go back to find my roots, because my father always taught us not to ever come back to Mississippi, because our great-grandparents were slaves to Van Spivey in the Jackson, Mississippi area. And I wanted to come back to find my roots. And I did find them, but 99% of most of the people I found on my mom's side, they're not black, they're white, you know?
Yeah.
And my mom is blue-eyed, blonde hair. I remember going to school, my mom will have to pretend she was my babysitter. She couldn't be my mother.
Wow.
My dad was her chauffeur. And because he was this black man who married to this lady, you couldn't tell whether she was white or black, because she was blonde-eyed and blue hair. And it was probably dangerous for my dad and her and myself, and the rest of my sisters and brothers. But we didn't know that at the time. Since we grown up now, we know that was a dangerous situation. But
yes,
my mom, with love, took her through the trenches, and here we are now, being able to talk about it.
Yes, sir. Well, Bobby, over the course of your amazing career, you've shared the stage with a veritable who's who of the blues. You've won awards. You've been inducted into 3 halls of fame. You continue to perform and entertain for your fans across the globe. What's next for you?
Well, I want to do some things that I haven't done. I'm going to play a lot of my acoustic date, which are what I started off with, no band, playing a lot of the songs by myself, just playing the blues, telling my story.
Sure.
Telling stories and just having fun and getting down. And finally, I'm making a couple of dollars now doing what I love to do. And I'm just having fun with it, man. I had no retirement in my heart and head yet. I'm just hoping to play this as long as I can and do it wherever I can.
Yes, sir.
I'm having fun with it, man.
Well,
having fun.
I would love to see you come to Michigan. I hope to get to see you up this way sometime soon. Definitely be looking for you. And rumor has it didn't you play up here during one of our blues fests in the Lansing area a few years back?
Yeah. A few years back, I did Lansing, I did Jackson, and Detroit, and Flint.
Well, we got to get you back up here. That's what we need to do.
Well, let me say, I hope we do get back together. But before I leave you, let me thank you for what you've done.
Thank you.
What you're doing, what you plan to do, because what you say about me on my music, what people perceive me to be. So thank you for your kind words and keeping the blues alive. Thank you so much.
It is my pleasure. Now, before we let you go, we need to find out where people can get information on your career, maybe buy some music, some merch, or get you booked for a gig.
Well, if you go into book, you go to any book outlet that wherever you get an Obama book, you find an old Bobby Rush book.
Okay.
And I'm in the mainstream. You can Google my name, BobbyRush.net, or you can Google me and get everything you want on me. If you Google and know my name, you can get me.
Excellent.
Download me for Bobby Rush. You're on my tour date, Bobby Rush tour date. They all pop up. You can see where I'm going, see where I'm coming, when I'm near your town, and all of my books, all of my records, all my CDs, and everything. You can get them on vinyl, you can get them on DVDs, and the whole bit.
Well, the vinyl bug bit me back in April, right around the time of my birthday. And I'm excited because I got that Chicken Heads LP coming. I can't wait to put that in my shelf here and get to play it.
Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Get to playing and keep the blues alive. And
Absolutely.
thank you again for what you do. Thank all the fans for tuning in with us and keeping the blues alive. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, Bobby Rush, bless you, man. Thank you so much for joining us today on Time Signatures. I wish you much continued success. And I truly hope that we get to cross paths in the not-so-distant future so I can shake your hand personally and properly meet you. I want to thank
you very much for that invitation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today as well, because it wasn't for all of you tuning in and watching and listening, none of this would be possible. Please do me a favor and click the subscribe and the notifications button below so you never miss an episode. Jim Ervin reminding you that keeping the blues alive is everyone's responsibility, but preserving the history of the blues one story at a time, that's my mission. Until next time, so long.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
You know I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.